Hi guys! No one is here. Hope you have been enjoying Shiba Eternity as much as I am. Today, we are going to study the most important topic, which every Shiba Eternity player must understand and know by heart. I'll call it the card traits. As you already know, there are roughly 500 different cards in the game. Combined with 10,000 Shibaushis with different traits on their own, they form a myriad of possible combinations and synergies that can be utilized in your decks. Card traits are grouped in two categories, the triggers and the passive traits. Triggers are activated when a certain precondition is met, while passive traits are innate to the cards or are granted by the trigger trait. You can see them on the right. Some cards can have both passive traits as well as triggers, like this grasshopper, or might have none at all, but might trigger the effects of other cards. So it's important to understand how they will interact with each other to achieve the best possible outcome for your Shiba Eternity journey. Also, there are a couple of effects which do not technically fall under triggers or passive traits, but which you should know about nonetheless, and we will cover those too. Alpha cards, denoted by a yellow upside down tick on the left side of the card while placed on the board, or with text alpha in card description, is an effect which increases the stats of other friendly cards on the board by 1 attack and 1 stamina, as long as the alpha is alive. Alpha effect is stackable, so the more alphas that you get on the board, the higher will be the buff for all warriors. If warrior has just 1 stamina remaining and alpha given the buff dies, the warrior's stamina will drop to 0 and it will die together with alpha. Aura effects stay active as long as the weapon or fighter with the aura is not stolen, destroyed or purified. Once this happens, the warriors will return to their original state. And if after the effect disappears, the stamina of warrior falls to 0, the warrior will die a painful death. Backup effect can occur only once, if the card with backup trait is played after another card, spell or warrior, during the same turn. Depending on whether you want the effect to be triggered or not, you have to consider the order in which you play backup cards. If backup condition hasn't been fulfilled when you place the card, the effect will be lost forever. Beta trait warrior will grant the nearest adjacent fighters on each side of it +1 attack and +1 stamina boost for as long as beta is alive. In case beta dies, the warriors next to it will lose the boost. If the warrior next to it had just 1 stamina left, after the boost is gone the stamina will revert to 0 and the warrior will perish together with the beta. Block absorbs any damage of the first attack made against a fighter with block effect active. A fighter with block returns his own damage at the attacking fighter while blocking, but attacker's damage is negated. Any spells which deal staggered damage, like deal 3 damage split between the fighters, will be considered as 3 separate attacks, and so the first damage will cancel the block, while the rest of attacks will land on the warrior, killing it in the process. Any spells which deal total damage, like deal 3 damage to warrior, will be negated and warrior will remain alive. Counter effect is triggered every time a fighter with this trait is attacked and suffers damage. If no damage is suffered, like from block effect, the counter will not be activated. Eager trait allows fighter to attack other enemy fighters in the same turn it is played on the board, but cannot attack Shibaushi in the same turn it is played and has to wait for next turn to do so. Focus effect is triggered each time you use a Shibaushi hero power. Do pay attention to what the effect does in order to maximize its usefulness by timing the use of Shibaushi power well. For example, in this case, I place all warrior cards first before using the power and giving all of them +1 stamina boost. If I use the power straight away, only warriors already on the board would have gotten the boost. Guardian fighter has to be destroyed or purified, before you can attack any other fighters or Shiba Ushi. If there are more than one Guardians on the board, you can attack any one of them. In current build, if Guardian receives stealth effect, then the opponent will not be able to attack it, and will be able to attack any other warriors or Shiba Ushi. Knockout effect occurs when the card with the knockout effect is eliminated. Mastery effect gives you spell cards +1 extra damage, as long as the mastery card is on the board. Do note that weapon cards or stamina shield boosting cards are not affected. On draw effect happens each time you draw a card. In case you draw several cards, the effect will happen for each new card drawn. So combining several warriors which draw new cards, for example on focus, make great synergy with on draw effect cards. Payback effect occurs one time, when the fighter is damaged for the first time, provided it survives the attack. That is why it is important to try and make sure payback card is killed in a single attack. Otherwise the effect will be triggered and it will become much harder to kill on second attempt. Perma-stun stuns the fighter for the remainder of the game, until it is destroyed or purified. Play effects are set in motion when the card is placed on the board, regardless of what happens after. Do read the effect description carefully to utilize the effect at the optimal time. Purify effect removes all cards traits and enchantments. If the enchantments were stronger than the remaining stamina, the warrior will die when purified. Rally effect triggers each time a new fighter is placed on board. So using cards summoning several fighters at once, or simply summoning a lot of low bark fighters, is the best synergy for rally warriors. Rampage effect is triggered every time the warrior with this trait attacks an enemy fighter. Redirect effect ensures that when the fighter is attacked for the first time, any damage made to it will be redirected back at the attacking enemy fighter. If fighter has redirect and block on it, first the redirect effect will be triggered and then block used up. In order to deal with a redirecting fighter, you have to either attack it with a low attack warrior, as the damage of your attacking card will be returned back at it together with the attack of the defending card added on top, or using a spell or Shiba Ushi power, as those are not redirected back, but also do not trigger the redirect. Keep in mind that weapon damage is redirected back at the Shiba Ushi, so it can be quite painful. Speedy trait fighters, identified by lightning in the top right corner when placed on board, or with speedy text in card description, have the ability to attack twice each turn. Do keep in mind that when attacking other warriors, they will suffer the damage twice as well. Spell break effect occurs only the first time you cast a spell after placing this card. Once it's used up, it will not happen again. In case of Multiplying Menace, it is the newest summoned warrior that triggers its spell break effect, and not the same effect happening multiple times for the original Menace. Do keep in mind that Bark Token is also considered a spell card. Spell Search effect occurs every time you cast a spell card, after placing this card. Do keep in mind that Bark token is also considered a spell card. Stealth trait makes your fighter unable to be attacked, targeted by the opponent, until you decide to attack with the stealth fighter, or it suffers damage from the area of effect cards. Do keep in mind that if a guardian gets stealth, the opponent will no longer be able to attack it, and will be free to attack any other fighter or Shiboshi. Once stealth fighter attacks another warrior or opponent Shiboshi, it will lose stealth, and in case of guardian will again become the compulsory target of the opponent. Stun effect makes the stunned fighter unable to attack the next upcoming round. Stun spells and Shiboshi powers like Lasso and Frostfire can be very effective at controlling strong warrior cards. Do keep in mind that stun effect can be dispelled with Purify effect, and let the opponent make a surprise jump attack on you when you don't expect it. Takedown effect occurs every time you destroy a fighter with a weapon or fighter that has the takedown effect active. There are some very strong weapons with takedown effects which extend their durability. Best way to deal with them is to use weapon steal cards, so always try to carry a couple in your deck. Tough trait reduces all incoming damage to this warrior by 1, making it a formidable defender. It is especially powerful against staggered spells like deal 3 damage split between enemy fighters, as in this case the damage is dealt one at a time, and every single time is negated by the tough trait, effectively suffering no damage. If a regular deal 3 damage spell is used, then only 2 damage would be inflicted on the card. And with this, we conclude the card traits. I hope you found this video useful and educational. If so, please like and subscribe for more interesting and exciting videos to come. Take care.